to another episode of Living Room Wisdom, where your story is your glory. I am Patrina Wisdom, abundance activator, best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and founder of Pure Abundance Retreat. And I could not be more excited to share my girl, Chè Rodgers, with you today. This amazing woman is the founder of I'ma Work Fitness, okay? And so I'm super excited for us to jump into this conversation. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And welcome to California.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Patrina, and thank you for welcoming me to beautiful California. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, so as you can hear, she's got this beautiful New York accent and just recently relocated to California, which is something she's actually been talking to about for quite some time. So how does it feel to actually have pulled the trigger?
Oh my goodness, it feels surreal, honestly, but also exciting. And I was expecting to feel like this immediate change in my body.
Yes.
And I did. Like as soon as I landed in San Diego, I was just like, I felt the weight come off.
The air is different.
It's completely different. The energy is different. And and this is my first time flying into San Diego, so I wasn't expecting to feel that way. Like when I've flown into LA, I felt that way.
Yes.
So coming into San Diego and having that same feeling, I was like, I made the right choice.
Our air is cleaner,
Yes, it is.
just saying. So I know you're attached to LA right now, but come out and see me more. You might end up out here. Anyways, look, we can sit here and chuckle and kiki all day long, but I really want to share you with everyone. So before we jump into what you do, I really want you to share who you are. Who is Chè Rodgers?
Who is Chè Rodgers? I am a mom of a beautiful 27-year-old daughter. She is my heart and soul. It was very difficult leaving her. I'm also a loving sister and daughter to my mom. I'm going back to North Carolina to take care of. And really, I would like to say I'm a cosmic soul.
Yes.
Right? I'm very attuned to the cosmos and how the changes happen. And I've really been diving into that lately and really connecting with it. So that's who I am personally.
You are. You absolutely are. You are a bright light. You are a stand for like, here I am. Watch me roar.
Exactly.
Without even knowing you. You have such a quiet fierceness about yourself.
Thank you.
I don't know if you've ever heard that.
Because I don't necessarily think of myself in that way, but that is how I feel, right? So it's not something I go around thinking about, but I do feel strong.
Yeah.
And that's my purpose in life, right? To help women feel strong, because that's always been very important to me. And that's like one of my core values. And not just in this generic, oh, she's a strong Black woman kind of thing.
No.
But really like grounded strength.
Yes.
Right? In everything. So not in just difficult times, but in happy times and in everything. So I express that physically as a personal trainer and a strength coach, but also in how I love my friends and family, in my relationships, and just how I present myself to the world. So,
yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned your physical fitness business. First off, I want us to go back to I'm a work.
I'm a work.
I'm a work because you gave me a little backstory on that, and I wanted you to share that.
Sure. So the name of my company is called I'm a Work.
Yeah.
And it's a play on my full name, which is Ghanaian from Africa, and it's Ama. My name is Ama Inyamache.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So Chè for short.
And Chè for short, and it's been Chè for short.
Chè.
Since I was in high school. So years and years and years. It started off as like something cute. One of my best friends in high school started, and it's just stuck.
Yes. It's so you.
Thank you.
It's so you though. I love it. And I can't say one Chè. I always have to be like, Chè.
Exactly.
Chè.
That's how it started, Chè, right? It's like Chè. And then, you get older.
Yes.
It just becomes
I think immediately when they experience you is what I'll say, right? When they experience you, there's this immediate just like warmth and like, oh, that's my girlfriend, right?
Yes.
Like right away from the time I met you, it was like, oh yeah, that's my girlfriend. That's my girlfriend, Chè.
Yes.
So
thank you, because I felt the same way with you as well, and that is what I try to bring in.
Yeah.
Like I always want to make people feel comfortable.
Yeah. Because you could be very intimidating. I mean, you're a fierce soul. right? You are.
I've
And
definitely heard that as well,
mm-hmm,
but I don't want to be intimidating. And I
no.
always say that people that feel that way about me don't really know me.
Mm-hmm,
But if you take that extra step in,
mm-hmm.
you only have to take half a step, and I'm gonna take two towards you.
Right.
Right? So it is really about being warm and drawing people in, and
Yes.
I just love building friendships and
Mm-hmm.
relationships. So I remember the first time we met. I think we met at an event in Greensboro.
Yeah, $1 million
That's the first time,
workshop.
very
Mm-hmm.
briefly, we met, and but I never forgot you. But when I
Mm-hmm.
saw you again, it was like we had spent the day
We were
talking,
like,
right? It was, so I was just like, okay.
ah!
I'm glad I left a similar impression. So it was really, yes.
And then it was done deal. It
Then
was
it
like,
was. It was
okay.
absolutely done after that.
Yeah.
And then Morocco just, no, not even, yes, Morocco was after that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
been a done deal. So that is really how I try to come across to most people. It doesn't always work, but that's okay as well.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I was going to say I love how it translates to your work, but I'm going to reframe that. And I'm going to ask you how that translates into your work.
How does that so? And both of those, and like those are like the perfect halves of my of how I present in my work. So on the one side, I'm very warm and engaging because also at this point, I'm still doing virtual training with my clients. So all my clients are
Just
currently
beautiful.
virtual. They're still in New York, and I know it's because of how I've been able to draw my clients in and connect with them. But on the other hand, I'm very tough and I don't play. Right? We come here to work.
Yes.
We both got up early to do this training, so let's do it and let's get it done. And that's how, and so both those sides of
You
me,
lovingly kick them in their
that's
ass.
right. I love to kick them in the ass, and they ask for more, right? They
Yeah.
ask for more, and I'm willing to give it to
Again.
them. Again, I'll see you in 2 days, Che. And I'm like, yes, you will. So it's great to be able to express myself that way because I worked
Yeah.
in finance for 25 years.
Wow.
Having to
Did not see that
Oh,
coming.
absolutely. I started working in finance when I was 18 in the early
Mm-hmm.
90s. And it's corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
It's the old boys club,
Mm.
very male dominated. The few women that were there, there were like maybe two women in senior positions when I first started out. And I idolized those women. But even in their roles, they were being minimized and not being held to the same standard or being respected the way men were being respected, and having to work through that for 25 years raising a child on my own. You do what you have to do.
Right.
So becoming a trainer and not having to suppress myself anymore has
Yes.
been really a blessing.
What was the moment that you knew you had to exit corporate America and really go establish something for yourself?
It was at my last corporate job. They completely wiped out my division. It was about 70 employees. And one day we were called into a meeting. And up until this point, we all knew something was going on. You just know the markets and how the things shift. And they were telling us, no layoffs, no layoffs. They call us into this big meeting. And in one fell swoop, the president comes in. He doesn't even look at anyone. And he reads like a 2 paragraph
Oh my gosh. A statement.
statement. And me and a friend of mine, like we're like the oldest statesmen in the room, and all these young folks are sitting around the center table and they're joking and blah blah blah. They have no idea what's coming, and she and I are like at opposite ends, and we're like looking at each other, and we know it's coming. And then HR walks in, and then he walks in behind HR, sits down, reads this very generic
Ah,
and insulting,
yes.
statement that tells us all that we're being fired. There was someone also on the call who had been working for the firm for 25 years, and he was on vacation in
Oh,
Italy.
wow.
Out celebrating with his husband, and he's joking on the line too. And it was heart-wrenching. And my first instinct, because my daughter was in her junior year of college, was you have to get a job. You have to start looking, call recruiters, and the word was out in the industry, so recruiters were calling me, but nothing felt right. Every time I spoke to a recruiter, every time I opened my resume, I just felt like this knot in my stomach. My heart sank, and I just was sad and not feeling well, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. So at this point, I was training with, I had my own personal trainer, and it was a small studio, and I didn't want to just stop going. So I sent an email to the owner saying, I got laid off from my job. I probably won't be back for a while, but once I get back, get back on my feet financially, know where things are landing.
We'll pick back
We'll
up.
pick back up. I said, but I have my personal training certification. So if you know anyone that's hiring, and I don't know why I put that in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just
Spirit.
just put it in, right?
Yeah.
Spirit just moved me to put it in there. And by the end of the day, we had set up a meeting for later that week.
Nice.
And we met. We must have talked for like 2 hours. And by the time I walked out, I had a job.
Wow.
So, I was still working for my corporate job. I was still on, payroll for another 6 weeks. But in the meantime, I was going into the studio, kind of shadowing the other trainers, learning the ropes. And I had been a client there for like over 3 years. So I knew how the studio functioned and how they trained because I was a product of that. But just to be on the other side of it and to also get the guys that used to train me, like, now I'm your colleague, hey. But they welcomed me in. It was amazing.
I love it.
It was an easy transition, but I also had to get my daughter's buy-in. Right? She's not partner in crime, right? This decision was gonna affect her
Of
as
course.
well, right? She's going into her senior year of college. And I said to her, I was like, look, I'm really thinking of doing this, but this is how you're going to be affected by it. So I'm not going to do it unless you're okay with it. And she was like, Mommy, please do it. Please. She was like, I grew up my entire life seeing you work this job that I knew you hated.
Yeah.
And I know you did it for me. She was like, please do this for yourself. I want to see you
Amazing.
happy. So that was.
So it was a blessing for you and a gift for her because I'm sure there's some things she then kind of had to step up and
Absolutely.
and figure out.
And figure out on her own,
Yeah.
right? Like she had to be more independent. And thank goodness she already is, right? She's always been an independent child. But at this point it was like, okay, she knew she got a job, not a second job, but she got a job working part-time. She was still a cheerleader. And then she started coaching young children in cheerleading. So she stepped out and we got through it together. Cause I mean,
Wow.
the first year was rough, right?
Of course.
Like, I mean, I took a huge pay cut, but I have never looked back and never regretted my decision.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that takes a ton of courage. It takes a ton of belief in yourself, right? And so where would you say that you cultivated that courage and that belief in yourself?
I would say my mom, honestly, and my mom and my brother. So my brother and I are super close. We're about 17 months apart, but growing up, people always thought we were twins. And since it was always just the three of us, we had to rely on each other a lot. So there was a lot of things, unfortunately, as a child, I had to step up to, right? Like my mom had to work 2 jobs. So when I came home from school, I had to cook dinner, right? I might have had to go on grocery shopping and things like that. So being like 10, 11, 12 years old and having to go grocery shopping takes a lot of courage when you're living in the hood.
In
right?
New York.
In New York,
Jeez.
exactly, right? And coming home from school, having to get my homework done, and then cooking dinner for my brother and myself. And actually, I had to cook dinner for the entire house, so I had to make sure there was food for my mom as well. It just, you look at the world differently, and you have to function in the world differently.
You mature faster.
You have to mature faster. And my mom just, always doing what she needed to do to make sure that we were taken care of, just set the stage for me to know that that's how I want to do. That's what I would want to do for my child, and even better, right? Like she never had to do those things I had to do, right? She never had to come home from school and worry about cooking dinner for herself or cooking dinner for me and things like that. But those same values are still there.
Which is beautiful to hear because I think that there is definitely a gap in, our generation, especially there's just a gap even growing up, in New York City.
Yes.
Like I was 7, 8 years old walking to school by myself in New York City, right? And all of these things and going home and it's like no thing.
Exactly.
But these kids now that are much more sheltered and, everyone treats them with the white gloves and things of that nature. And they have not developed that courage. They've not developed that self-belief or confidence that a lot of people from our generations, we were kind of, dealt a shitty hand sometimes,
Yes.
right? We learned it through fire.
Right.
However, these are skills that are sometimes hard to transfer.
Yes.
So I love to hear that your daughter has cultivated those skills through maybe being on the journey with you or what have you. That's amazing, because I know for myself, I so wanted my kids not to struggle that I definitely enabled them for some time. And then when I finally kind of realized, oh, I'm creating like codependency, I need to teach these kids how to be able to function on their own. If I'm not here, then I had to flip the switch, which was probably traumatizing, to be honest. Hey.
That's a lesson in and of itself, right?
Yes.
It's like, unfortunately, the way we learn and grow is through a little bit of struggle, right? Through trauma. You know, people, kids and people, we need a challenge to step up to.
Yeah.
And because I had my daughter so young, she did go through everything with me.
Right.
You know, so all of those struggles, all of those up and downs, you know, like moving from apartment to apartment, very nomadic.
Sounds like
right?
my upbringing. My mom had me at 16. How old were you?
I was 22.
Okay.
Yeah,
So a little bit older.
Exactly. A little bit older, but you know, like in hindsight, when we look back, we're like, oh my God, I was a baby, right? And definitely my daughter at 22.
I never felt like a baby.
I
I never felt like a baby.
I never did. It's only looking back, and I was like, I was so young. But
When you see the 21, 22-year-olds now, you're like, oh my God, was that me? Like,
yes,
yeah.
I'm like, did I look like
We were a
that?
different breed.
We were different. We were very different. And I did have a lot of support from my mom, which helped.
Just
a
great.
bunch. I mean, it takes a village. And when I say my family was the village, they were. Like my sister, my brother, the extended family,
Yeah.
I mean, my stepmom, just, it takes a village. And although, you know, I raised her, I had all of this support around me. And I was never, you know, treated unkindly because, you know, oh, you had a child so young.
That's great.
You know, so it's
Sounds like there's a high level of acceptance in your
Yes.
family.
very high. a
That's
huge
beautiful.
level. I mean, the love runs deep in my family, right? I mean, we fight a lot,
That's
but we love
sweet.
just as much, right? If not harder. So yeah, I never had to worry about her. And to this day, like she has her own relationships with everyone. You know how sometimes you have to be the middle person in your family? I never have to be that. You know,
Nice.
she's got her personal relationships with the family, and that's because everyone was there, you know, while she was growing up, helping me to raise her. Be that support.
Everybody's TT,
That's right.
TT and
That's right.
uncle.
Exactly. Yes. And we have a big family, so
Yeah. And not to mention all the extendeds,
Yes,
right?
and the extended family on top of it. So yeah, and
I love
especially
it.
being an only child is very helpful. So
I'm an only child, so
so you know.
I understand. So what would you say has been the biggest challenge in your life? And how have you overcome it? And how is it informing the work that you do in the world now?
My biggest challenge is staying consistent in my belief in myself, right? Because of the way I was raised, I'm always looking for a struggle to butt up against. And if I don't have
In order
that
to grow?
struggle, in order to grow, right? That's where that statement comes
Calling
from,
it in.
right? Calling it in.
Oh, I've got to struggle. Yeah.
It's gotta be hard, right?
Yeah.
And so when it's not hard, how do I keep that same energy? How do I keep that same belief in myself, right? Because I know if it's hard, if there's a challenge, I'm going to step up.
Right.
And I'm going
Ooh,
to crush
let's
it.
go.
It's going to happen, right? I'm
Yeah.
a fighter. It's just, that's how it is, right?
Yeah.
But when I don't need to fight, when I don't need to struggle, when things are soft and things are easy, how do I keep that belief in myself that I'm capable of stepping forward and growing? So that's been the work for me. And honestly, this work has just come up recently. You know, because it's, I mean,
The awareness
of it, right? The awareness of it. And because I have to say, living the life of a personal trainer, I don't care how easy it is, it's a challenge, right? We have to be up super early. We have to deal with different personalities all of the time. And how do you make those shifts so that everyone is feeling seen and taken care of as themselves and not just, you know, the next one in, right? I'm just dealing with you like I dealt with, right? Patrina and Jenny are being dealt with the same way.
Right.
No, we're not, right? You're two separate individuals. So that takes a lot out of you.
Energetically.
And even physically, right? You need to move these weights around. People are at different fitness levels. And so just because of the pandemic and doing everything virtually, it's gotten a lot softer, right? It's gotten a lot easier.
Yes.
It's gotten, people are in their homes, so they're more relaxed, right? Versus coming into a studio
Yeah.
and, coming after work, right? So it's been like, how do I keep moving forward? Because now I don't have to lift these heavy weights. And when people are in their home, their personalities they're more themselves, right? They're not putting on for the world.
Right.
So that has been the work. And I'm still
Yeah.
working on it. It's gotten a little easier.
Yeah.
Not easier, I'll say better.
Yes.
Because one, I've recognized it, and now that's what I'm working on. So, and also in this new iteration of my business, it's not going to be the same thing where I'm in a studio training like 10 clients a day.
Right.
I'm trying to build this virtual platform, and just trying to figure out how do I translate that over.
You're not trying. You've already got it figured out. You're executing. You're executing. You're taking the steps.
Exactly. I
Yes.
figured out.
Well, all
And
that part's figured out. You know the what.
Yes.
You may not know all the how.
Right.
And there's people for that.
There's so many. Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
That's part of living the soft life is that,
Yes.
I don't need to worry my pretty little head about that. There's
So
people
living
who,
the soft life.
yeah.
I've never had to live the soft life. So
Yeah.
I'm diving in.
Yeah. I love it for you.
I'm diving in.
I love it for you. You don't have to fight anymore.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. And it feels good. Sometimes I do look for a fight, but
Well,
you know,
shits and
it's
giggles,
just a
right?
reflex, right? Yes.
So what does scaling your business at this? Because I know we've talked about scaling. And so what is that vision that you have for yourself and your future in regard to the impact you're making?
So what scaling my business actually looks like is more of a complete shift. So
A pivot.
a pivot, because I was so tied to being a personal trainer, right?
Yeah.
I need to work one-on-one. It has to be me and
Right.
you in order for me to have an impact. But in the back of my head, I was like, no, Jay, there's something else.
Yeah.
And it's there. And so when we were at ROI,
Yeah.
I had this amazing interaction with this woman, and it kind of just brought it all together. So I've created this platform called the CEO Workout. And what it is, it's a fitness platform for
Yes.
female CEOs and entrepreneurs. Because, we're busy, we're running businesses, and people always use the excuse, I don't have time to work out. And I'm like, but if I give you 5 minutes, you can work out.
Right.
You got 5 minutes, right?
Right.
It's like, then the excuse is gone. Because people think that a lot of times that you need to be doing 45-minute workout or an hour workout, and you don't. You really just need to move your body. So that's what the CEO workout is about. It's
Love
about
it.
5 to 30-minute videos for women to work out. It'll also include educational videos about how to move correctly, how to perform exercises correctly, nutrition,
Yeah.
sleep, all the things that's tied to our physical well-being as well as our mental well-being, because that's important as well. Like, we talk about being physically fit and things like that, but I'm also into mental fitness, right?
One feeds the other.
One feeds the other, so and also what I would like to do is create partnerships.
Yes.
So helping people find their fitness partner, I like to
Oh,
use the term
yeah.
fitness sister.
Yeah, we
right?
talked about
So I have a fitness sister.
Yes.
And without her, I'm not sure I would have gotten so far in my journey. Because we just supported each other so well and so organically. Like, she's one of my dearest friends at this point. I was in her wedding, and that's what I want to provide and facilitate. For
I love it.
For
Be a
other
little
people.
fitness. What is it? Fitness sister matchmaker.
Exactly. That's exactly what I am.
Yes.
I want to facilitate you finding your fitness
love
sister,
it.
and whoever that looks like, right? So I use the term fitness sister, but it's just the term, right? It's a very loving term. So that's what I want people to feel.
Instead of workout buddy.
Exactly.
My
Right.
workout
My
buddy.
partner, right? It kind of, that's great too.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily draw everyone in. And I feel like Fitness Sister draws people in. So there's 3 tiers. The first tier will just be like the videos and, access to the community, because this is also about community building,
Of course.
which I've been dying to do.
Yes.
And again, I couldn't figure out how to do it in a way that felt right to me. And that ROI just came. I was like, here it is. This is how I build. Right? I know how
Presented to you on a
yes,
golden
yeah,
platter.
it was just like, and
I
it
love
literally
it.
felt like
And
that, right?
that's what it gets to be when
That's
you're
what it
living
gets
the
to
soft
be.
life.
Yes, right? I was like, oh my goodness, the ideas just kept coming. So
Yeah.
yeah, so there's 3 tiers, and then the second tier will be actual facilitation of you finding your partner, because some people maybe don't have the personality, maybe they're too shy, maybe they don't know who they should be looking for. So I'll help facilitate that.
Yeah.
And then tier 3 will be one-on-one training, but with the
Right.
same, everything in tier 2 and tier 1. So I'm super excited.
I'm
And this
excited
is
about
just the
it.
beginning. I have like so much I want to
Yes.
do with this brand, and finally really honing in on who my ideal client is,
Yeah.
who I really want to work with, and giving
Well,
them
I think you've hit the nail on the head now,
yeah.
because that market, the CEOs, the entrepreneurs, we're the ones who are going to we're going to do the work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know this. And I know how to speak. These are my people. I know how to
Yes.
speak to you, right?
Yeah.
I know I'm living that life as well.
Exactly.
I'm a CEO of a small business. I know what you're going through. I know the struggles. I know the busyness. I know the hang up on, oh my goodness, I can't work out. Whatever the excuses of
Yeah.
the day, I'm going to take that away from you and make it a pleasure to get up and move your body.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Whatever the excuse is, Chè is taking that away.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm so happy we were able to do this. And I'm excited to watch this evolve, because we did talk about it like kind of fresh in the moment when the idea came to you.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited about everything that you're doing, and to continue to see you grow and expand, especially being here in California now.
I can't wait. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Yes.
This is where I need to be to make it happen.
We're all here making magic. Hopefully you're at home thinking of all the different ways that you can change your life as well, because this is a scarcity to abundance story. This is, going from pushing, forcing, struggling, needing to fight all the time, to living a soft life and still being strong, right? And making an impact. So I'm so happy that you tuned in today. Always a juicy conversation. We have so many more amazing interviews lined up for you this season. So make sure you subscribe to our podcast, follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll see you right here next week on Living Room Wisdom, where your story is your glory. Have a good day.